Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of Pinfalls. This is WWE Hell in a Cell Pinfalls. I, of course, am John of JohnGB.com and Global Women's Sports Radio. Joining me today, as always, is very special guest, a former tag team champion for Resistance Pro, a current Southside occupational champ, and all-around wrestling aficionado. Who else but Tommy Else?
How you doing, John? Thanks for having me again.
I am doing well. Was that a proper introduction?
That was very good. Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for lending your wrestling acumen.
Yeah. Do we have a current update on the standings?
No, this guy right here.
This guy.
I had it right here, and I don't know where it went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, I will flash it. You're winning. You are a
top-notch operation you got going on here.
You are beating me this year. That's a given. Right. Overall lifetime stats, I'm still handing it to you, but for this year, you're on top.
All right.
Got to change though.
All right. Well, let's get into it then.
There are 6 matches. We'll end off with the women's match because that's our main focus. But the first match, we have Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Cell freaking Rollins.
Yeah, I don't like the mandatory freaking in there. It's fine for him to say it all the time, but to have it like on the screen.
Oh, they're pummeling it to death.
Yeah,
but that's what they always do.
It's like they've made it official. Like that's his name is Seth freaking Rollins, and I don't know. It's like I said. It's fine for him to say it. It's fine if other people, throw it in once in a while or whatever. But if you can't say his name without saying freaking, it just kills the whole thing. It's not,
But how many times when Moxley was there, did they refer to him as the lunatic fringe?
Yeah, they did, but it wasn't. But they also called him by his name though too. I mean, they called Stone Cold the Texas Rattlesnake, but they didn't. But it wasn't like mandatory on his, entrance and stuff like that. It's different. Anyway, as far as the match goes, I've got Cody Rhodes all the way on this one. I mean, they didn't bring him in and start this rivalry for him to lose the blow-off match. Rollins can, the thing with bad guys is they can end up in slumps, so he goes and has this feud with Rhodes, and if he loses a Hell in a Cell, which is my prediction, maybe he goes into a slump. On the other hand, he's also, when he came back from WrestleMania after having lost, his character is such as that he can kind of shake it off too and be like, the past is the past, who cares, type of thing. So I think he'll be fine, losing this. And then it also gives him incentive to somewhere down the road want to come back and revisit this, and at some crucial point, like try screwing Cody or something like that. So I'm going Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, for this match.
Well, I don't think Cody's going to get a huge push and go to the main event and go and win the title anytime soon. Yeah, I agree with you completely. He's got to win this match. They didn't bring him in with all this fanfare to have him lose to Seth Rollins. It's not going to hurt Seth Rollins at all to lose this match, to lose this feud. I hope that the feud ends now. It's been a great feud, but I hope it ends. And
they're saying that this is their last match, and so if this is in fact their last match, then that's what's informing me on saying, yeah, I mean, he's got to, if this was going to keep going, then yeah, maybe there'd be a chance he would lose or something like that, just to find a way to perpetuate it. But if this is them calling the feud, and I think they should, I mean, it's time for both of these guys to move on. It's been a good feud. It's been one of the most entertaining things that they've had going on in the whole company, as far as I'm concerned. I've been very happy with everything that they've done with Cody Rhodes since his return. So, but yeah, my understanding is this is their last match. So yeah, they, I still feel like even if it's a blow off match, for their feud, I still feel like it's a little early for a Hell in a Cell level match. Like I really feel like that needs to be a blow off for like a real long standing feud. Like that's something they could have done a different type of match. It didn't have to be them in the cell necessarily, but
But out of the given options available, I think they probably are the best ones to have a Hell in a Cell.
Sure. That's yeah, and I understand. Yeah. I mean, like I get it. I just, from a storyline standpoint, I think the cell gets brought in a little early these days,
Yeah,
where that used to be like where feuds go to die,
right. It loses
So
its impact when it just becomes the.
yeah.
But let's not forget too, win, lose or draw, Seth Rollins still goes home to Becky Lynch. So really, who's the winner there?
Yeah. What do you think of her new hair?
I like it.
I like it too. Yeah. No, I gotta say, the funny thing is I'll bet you anything that's probably been her hair length most of this time, and she's
True.
just had extensions. All this, she's probably just took her extensions out and got a trim. So
Probably right, but I like it.
But
I like most things about Becky.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
We'll get back to Becky because there's some thoughts there.
Yeah, she's got action later.
Yeah. So the next match we've got your old wrestling contemporary league mate, whatever you want to call him, Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel, or is it Elias?
Yeah. This one I guess I'm going to go with Ezekiel on this, just because I feel like the more frustrated and infuriated that they can make Kevin Owens, the more entertaining this whole feud is. I mean, he's really been the comic relief in this whole thing, and he's played it very, very well. It needs to, I still think the storyline has some legs on it. And I think, because if he just beats him, it's kind of like, then what, but if Ezekiel beats him and continues on with this whole thing, it drives Kevin Owens nuts, and this can be built up into something even bigger. So I'm going with Ezekiel.
I agree with most of that, except I see Kevin Owens winning. I see Kevin Owens winning and still not getting what he wants out of Ezekiel, and then challenging him to more and more stuff. I see the feud continuing. I'm not sure where it can go. Obviously, it can't go to a Hell in a Cell. Maybe it could go to a cage match. I don't know. Or maybe it could go to an I Quit match, or they could do some stipulation where if I win, you have to admit that you're Elias. Who knows? But I see Kevin taking this one.
Okay.
Did you ever have any interaction with him at our pro?
Yeah. Not a lot, but I mean, just, backstage, hey, how you doing? Good match. I mean, I don't know that we really even had a conversation or anything like that. So, just in the same locker room, but, seeing him talking to other people and interacting, with everyone. And he was more of a face in our pro. And so he actually had kids were like cheering for him and stuff like that. I don't know that there were supposed to be kids at that event, but I just remember, I remember that, yeah, he was over and he did a good job playing face to the crowd. So, and he seemed like a cool guy backstage and everything too. So
a little bit of history there.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a difference. Moving on to the next match, we have Bobby Lashley, another locker room mate of yours.
I had a lot more time with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. Coconut water.
Yeah.
Lashley versus Omos with at the handicap match, Omos and MVP.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Bobby Lashley on this. While the odds would seem stacked against him, I would be surprised if they threw him in this and then he just gets slaughtered by these two, I mean, because it's a clear 2-on-1 scenario. Now I could see him winning the match, and then after the match, the two of them, beating them up real bad or something. So they may get some revenge on them right away. But I think it's going to be an exhibition in watching Bobby Lashley handle these two. I am excited to see MVP get back in the ring. I mean, I don't expect him to roll on all cylinders that he once did, but back in the day when he was working in WWE, I mean, I was a fan. I've got an MVP shirt, I mean, like I liked him a lot. I liked his character and I liked his style and everything. So, yeah, so I think that's really, I'm more excited about the fact that he's in the match than anything, but I'm going to go with Bobby Lashley.
Well, once again, I agree with most of what you said, except for the winner. The winner I see is almost an MVP. There's two of them. It's not going to hurt Lashley if they use your phrase of nefarious means to beat Lashley. It's not going to hurt Lashley. It's going to fire him up. It could continue the feud.
Yeah.
Maybe a special stipulation where Lashley gets time with MVP if he beats the two of them in the next match or something. Who knows? It's not going to hurt Lashley. It continues the feud. I go with the 2-on-1 handicap match. They're going to win.
I think there's plenty of logic in what you're saying. And I mean, I don't think you're like way off or anything like that. I think that's a very doable scenario as well. I mean, it really is a close one. I mean, it could kind of go either way, but I'll stick with mine and we'll see which one of us is right.
It's not very often you say that there's logic in what I'm saying. So I'll take that. I've got it on recorded now. So
yeah. Well.
All right. So we got two out of three so far different. Moving along, we have a U.S. Championship match. We have Theory, the champ, defending against Mustafa Ali.
In his hometown. Yeah, another guy. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Another one, right?
Yeah, from Villa Park. Yeah, he lives like 15 minutes from here. He trains when he's got off time or he's in town or whatever, he's been known to stop by the freelance training academy out here, and he jumps in and helps run classes and stuff. So yeah, he's very involved with a lot of the kids here in Chicago who are trying to come up. This is kind of a tough one for me. I've been thinking about this. I just think that while he's in his hometown and they're trying to bring him back, I think it's a little early for him to walk in and get the U.S. title. Theory is on fire right now, and I think he needs to stay on that track. They had a U.S. championship match like a week ago or something like that. This is just like a rematch, and it was at the behest of Mr. McMahon saying that he wants he wants Theory to wrestle him again, because the first way he beat him was basically through disqualification, I think. So so the thing with Theory that I think kind of works a little bit is that while the story is that McMahon's real big on this guy and is pushing him real hard, he's also challenging him a lot too, which I like, because it puts him in these scenarios where he's not just getting away with everything either, so now he's got to legitimately beat Mustafa Ali. And let me just make a quick note that I've known that guy, or known of him at least, for at least 10 years. It's always been Mustafa Ali. All right. Well, he's always just been Ali, really. But Mustafa Ali. It was never Mustafa Ali. And then suddenly they just decided that, I don't know. They don't want to make the Lion King connection, or, I don't know what the problem was with Mustafa Ali. I'm fine with just calling him Ali, but I don't know. Anyway, so
maybe I'm the Tommy Else.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I think that I'm going to go with Theory on this. I would be very surprised. I mean, it would be a huge deal and a gigantic moment for Ali to get that title here in his hometown here in Chicago, but I just don't think that I don't think it's going to happen. So
WWE also has a history of not caring, or almost going opposite if the guy is in his hometown. Usually, right. A lot of times the guy gets embarrassed, or whatever. And whether it's Mustafa, Ali seemingly is not happy in the WWE, and rumors are he wants out. Now they could give him the title to try to pacify him, but
But that depends. That depends on how much they really care about keeping
right.
him. You know,
Yeah,
like what value does he have? I mean,
exactly.
is he enough? You know, and if he's not happy,
A
you
title's not
know,
gonna.
right. And if he's not happy, there's very little that they're going to do to be able to change anything. I mean, it's like the precedents have to be set in that if somebody's not happy and then they cry about it and they say, well, I'll quit, you know, if you give into that,
Right.
then everybody's going to do it,
Exactly.
right? And I'm not saying he's crying about it or anything, but I mean, there's been plenty of people in the past who have not liked the creative that they've been dealt, and people have left over it, you know, and I understand. You have to enjoy what you're doing. If you don't like doing it, then you're not gonna. It's not fun, and it becomes a job. And you know, wrestlers become wrestlers because they don't want to have jobs, so to speak.
Why I
You
do
know,
this?
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know the extent of the backstage relationship as of right now, but you know, even all that stuff aside, I just, you know, Ali's been good, you know, he's, you know, but I don't think he's been I don't think he's at a level where taking the US title, you know, changes the story. It makes him a main player in you know, and right now I don't think he has enough support. I think he's got support, but I don't think he has enough to really warrant a title run of any type just yet. So
I agree completely. I think Theory is getting a big push. I see that push continuing. Um, whether or not Ali is happy, isn't happy, whatever degree it is, a mid card title isn't going to change a lot
right,
for him,
right.
especially the way titles are flipped around these days. It's not like he would get that title and have a 2 year run as the champ. So I don't think that does anything. I see Theory winning this and moving on. And whatever
Yeah.
happens, Ali will be fine. He's a talented wrestler. So whatever, wherever he.
Right. And that's the thing too, is you can take Ali then and just drop him into something else, no problem. So, you know,
I'm marking it down.
he's not like married to this rivalry or anything like that, you know. So
So the next match is a intergender 3-person tag match with Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Liv Morgan versus the stable that you hate the name of, at least. You hate the name of the Judgment Day,
yes.
led by
Yes.
Edge.
I will say, so since we last did our show, they've had Rhea Ripley join. And I'll tell you something. Now that was not something that I was in my prediction for that match until about until the entrances of that match. I was watching it and I didn't know about Ripley necessarily, but I started thinking, well, Edge is trying to expand his stable. So while Damian Priest isn't allowed at ringside, who's to say that he doesn't have somebody else come in? And I didn't think of it until literally they're coming down the ramp. And I was like, you know, I might have changed my my vote on it or whatever. So Edge is still inviting people into this thing. I was very glad to see Rhea Ripley in it. I think that what they've got so far looks good. I like the visual of the three of them. They look, you know, unified. I love when stables try to get their look, you know, like they you know, all have the same. Yeah, you know, like when I was leading Body Magic and Resistance Pro, like I was real big on like we all wear black and yellow. You wear your Body Magic shirt to the ring and stuff and things like that. Like you got to look like a team, you know, like the Cubs taking the field or something like that. You gotta, you know. So
I agree completely.
I like that visual sign of unity. I think Edge is a little long-winded on his promos, and especially with some of these, you know, some of them have been good, but I still like the concept of everything that they're doing. On the other side, you know, the whole AJ Styles and Finn Balor and Liv Morgan thing, it just feels really thrown together, you know, and I get what they're doing, but I mean, Edge has clearly got a more solid thing going, and I think that they'll end up winning this one. I'm going with Edge and the Judgment Day.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like they did. They put the AJ Liv Balor together just to fight these guys. Like there's no cohesion. There's no real solidarity with those three. That why are they in this together?
Right.
I do like Judgment Day, not the name. I agree with you on that. My only worry is that the same thing with any type of faction, that they're either going to get too many members, or they're going to break it up too quickly, or they're going to have a revolving door of members. And I hope they limit it. If they bring in another member or two, I hope they limit it, cap it at 5, and keep them in there for a while. Don't bring 5 in and then kick one guy out and bring another guy in. I'd like to see a long run.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with all of that. I am worried more about them bringing in too many people than anything else. I mean, ideally, I think 4 is usually a good number. I mean, if you're really gonna make a big faction, then 5 absolutely tops. I mean, like you said, I mean, so you got the leader, and then you got 2 people standing on each side of them. So visually, I get that. But I mean, like, I would be fine if they just kept them at the 3 that they're at right now.
I'm fine with that too.
I think totally fine. I think that's a good group and that works well. So, but I do get the impression that, they're trying to recruit more people for it. But if they do, I say, yeah, like 1 more tops. I mean, I don't think they need to go to 5, but so yeah, anyway, going with the Judgment Day on that one.
So we agree on 3 so far. We disagree on 2. Mm-hmm. So doing good. The last match.
Okay. Well, there's a little more at stake this time than last time. We only disagreed on 1 last time. Yeah. So, and I was right, by the way. So
you were. Well, let's see how we go on this one. We have the women's championship, the Raw Women's Championship match. Yeah. Champion Bianca Belair defends against Asuka.
Yep.
And the newly added Becky Lynch.
Yes, the returning Asuka and yes, Becky Lynch. I'm going Bianca Belair. I don't think she's given up the title. I think that, number one, it's a feather in her cap to win this triple threat match, especially given the other 2 opponents who are top notch. Number 2, there's been so much going on between Becky Lynch and Asuka that I think it's one of those scenarios where those 2 are they're not going to team up and help each other try to take out Bianca Belair. They're going to be too distracted fighting each other and not focused enough on Belair. So she can win the match. Those 2 can go off and have a rivalry after this. And there you go. So
you just read my mind.
Yeah. That one seems a little more cut and dry to me. Yeah.
That was pretty much exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. I'm not sure who Bianca Belair feuds with next. It could be any number of people.
There's a million women on the roster they can still do. So
now I didn't bring this up earlier to forewarn you, but you're good on your feet. What do you think is happening with Sasha Banks and Naomi?
I only know what I know. And my understanding of it is that they were unhappy with the direction or the creative of the match they were going to have that night, or maybe even just long term. I'm not sure if it was just that one night or if it was the overall thing. I think they had a problem with the women's tag team division in general. And they walked out in the middle of a live Monday Night Raw. All right. Now, I don't care who you are. You can't do that. If you don't like the creative of something, you go, you state your case, you try to offer alternative ideas that you think would make more sense or work better. And then it's still in the hands of management. They might listen to you. You might sway them. and it happens sometimes. If you can give a good excuse or a good reason or a better storyline option, they'll take it. I mean, if you're like, oh wow, yeah, that does make sense. But if they don't, then you just got to grin and bear it and go out there and do what they want you to do. You can't just not do it. And that I've had a experience with somebody who
I was going to ask, yes.
I was in a spot with, and they did not like the creative. Now, they didn't walk out of the match, but they basically stood there and did absolutely nothing during the spot. It wasn't really a match, but and it's like
almost as bad. It's walking out.
It's just a known. It's just a rule. It's an unspoken rule. I mean, it's a spoken and unspoken rule. I mean, it's like, you just don't do that. You don't do that. I mean, it's like if there's a rule book about how to handle yourself in wrestling, it's got to be like in the top 5. You don't walk out in the middle of because you're not only screwing the management, but you're screwing the rest of the people on the roster too, who are putting on that show, and so knowing that's really all I know about the scenario. That being said, if the WWE decides to just keep them on contract so they can't work anywhere else and but not use them and have them sit at home, I wouldn't blame them. I'd be surprised if they released them from their contracts, because then they could go out and start working other places in a few months. The thing is, Sasha Banks has more star power than Naomi does, in my estimation.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, and she's so good, and you hate to imagine not having her in the WWE. But at the same time, I understand an example having to be made. I mean, if they pull that and then the WWE just lets it go and lets them come back even after a sabbatical or something like that, it sets a bad example. It sets a bad precedent, and then other people will think, well, if I don't like it, I'll show them and I'll just walk out.
It goes back to what you were saying. Not that he did this, but like when we were talking about the potential that Ali was maybe or maybe not griping, it's kind of similar concept to that. Management still is management,
right? All you can do is is like I said, you can offer your opinion, you can tell them how you feel about it, and if you better have some alternative ideas. Don't go to them and just be like, well, I don't know what we should do, but I don't want to do this. You got to come with some solid ideas to try to sway or convince them into doing something else. And it's not just WWE, that's any promotion,
right. Well, it's any company.
Yeah, you don't like what you're doing, then you talk to them. Now, if you don't like what you're doing that night, and you have to, then you go and you do it. And then, if you don't want to come back and do it the next time, well, then that's different. I mean, at least giving them a heads up is one thing, but to walk out in the middle of a live show and then lose that match off the card, that throws live television is hard enough, the timing and all that stuff and everything. And now you have suddenly like a 12-minute gap in the show, it hurts the other talent in the company and the other people from top to bottom, so.
And it can't be good. It can't be a good career move for them too, because now your head case, now you're labeled as such. But I just hope they don't walk off this show.
No, not this show. Plenty of other things I would probably walk off of that involve you, but not here at Pinfalls.
Well, we got 6 matches. We agree on 4. We disagree on 2.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. Any parting words before we bid this adieu?
All I can say is that, as usual, you're welcome to come by. Having people over. Another pay-per-view.
I got Big Money's son's first birthday party.
Of course you do.
I do.
Well, bring the young lad with you, and we'll all watch it together.
Sounds good, man. Well, for everybody, check out WWE Hell in a Cell this weekend. Check it out. See how we did. Tommy, I appreciate you, your acumen. I appreciate your knowledge, and I appreciate your friendship. Everybody else, this has been another edition of Pinfalls. This is Johngy signing off with who else?
The
But
Tommy
Tommy
Else.
Else. Enjoy the show.